Welcome everybody to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for coming back for Astro Update August 15th, 2025. And this is a channel where we look at the ebb and flow of all the astrological bodies moving up there. And I especially focus this on newcomers to astrology because I want everybody to be able to speak astrology. So be sure if there's anything you don't quite understand, I've got a playlist called Astrology for Beginners that you can get just at the end in the description box below. And I literally have all the videos with all their titles so that you can pick which ones you're most interested in. Okay, now let's kind of oh, and you can see I've left the beautiful kite up here for us to all enjoy from last week. And just remember, a kite is, there's that grand trine, right? Air, air, Aquarius air, Libra air, Gemini air, and then the little mini trine created because of Mars opposing the Saturn Neptune there. But look at this gorgeous kite. Beautiful, huh? Okay. But on August 11th was a huge day. Mercury went retrograde, or direct, and station direct. And station just means kind of like, you know, like when the train comes into a station, it stops. So Mercury stopped and is now starting to move forward. It didn't quite make it back to opposing Pluto. Pluto was like at 2 degrees, and Mercury only made it back to 4 degrees for this opposition between these two. But still, once Mercury really starts moving forward, I bet some secrets start coming out with that Pluto there. And just to let you know, Mercury will be in its shadow until August 25th. Now, another thing I thought was kind of interesting, and I forgot to mention this last week, on July 31st, and this was during the Mercury retrograde too, Kamala announced that she was not running for governor of California. So let's see if that stays true, because things that happen during Mercury retrograde don't always last. So we'll see. And also that woman, Maxwell, during this Mercury retrograde, they moved her to that posh prison that's for white-collar criminals, not pedophiles. But anyway, let's see how long she stays in that nice prison with the Mercury retrograde. Maybe they'll change their minds. Okay, we'll see. Okay, the other thing with Mercury that's going on yesterday, on August 14th, Mercury and, well, actually Mars sextiled Mercury. Now, Mars in Libra is very, you know, much the mediator. Mercury, how we communicate. In Leo, dramatic. So there could be some dramatic negotiations coming out. And I thought this was really interesting because the orange one, and what should we call him? Tsar Pooty Poot, are having a meeting on the 15th today. So this will definitely still be in action here. Now, Mars and Libra can be a little passive aggressive too. And what else is interesting? Both these guys are such liars. Maybe just whatever announcements they make, we'll just take the opposite of it, you know. Anyway, now one of your pieces of homework. Oh, and I should say, though, with this aspect, we will get announcements about what was said and things like that. Now, your homework was Mars sextiled Mercury on the 14th, but then Mercury sextiles Mars on the 18th. What the heck's going on there? And we always say the fastest moving planet first. So, okay, who found out, who got the answer? All right, George, you in the back there, you tell us what happened. All right. Mercury was just off of its retrograde, so it's moving really slow, almost stopped. And Mars, which was going up to full speed, went right by, made that sextile, and kept on going. Well, Mercury's a lot faster than Mars in its normal state. Mercury gets up to 2 degrees a day, whereas Mars only gets up to 1 degree every 2 days at its fastest. So Mercury got faster and faster and faster and came up and sextiled Mars and is going to leave Mars in the dirt. Thank you, George. That was very good. Okay, so pretty cool, huh? It was just basically because of this retrograde and Mercury seeming like it was, you know, basically stopped there and not going anywhere. So pretty cool, huh? All right. Then on August 12th, we had that Saturn-Uranus sextile. And that's all part of our wobble going on here. And I wanted to point this out because I forgot to point this out last week. Uranus sextiling Saturn is in Gemini right now, and Saturn's in Aries. So that sextile, that's that air fire. Remember, the sextiles are always complementary elements. So air fire sextile, earth water sextiles, air fire sextiles, etc. So we're really, you know, I've been harping on this. We're getting a peek of what's going to be happening in a year from now. So right now, these 3 planets are all in the signs they're going to be in a year from now, but they'll be in there for like forever, basically, or for a really long time. And, but the first time, because we usually, because of retrogrades, we get these aspects, these transits 3 times. So with Uranus sextiling Saturn right now in the air and fire, but in April was the first time they made this sextile, and at that time Saturn was still in Pisces and Uranus was still in Taurus. So they had that kind of old style sextile. Now what's interesting, their 3rd sextile is going to happen in January of 2026, and they're going to be back in these old signs again. So that's why I'm stressing so much how important it is to be aware of what's happening in your life right now, because that's the future. And here's our wobble list again, and you can see everything got into its new signs back here in July, and we're in August now. Then starting in the fall, and you're welcome to take screenshots of this, that's when Saturn goes back into Pisces, Neptune goes back into Pisces, Uranus goes back into Taurus. Then they start flipping around, going direct and getting back into the signs, the future, starting in, well, let's say January. And so by May of next year, it's going to be a whole different world. It's going to look totally different. I'm excited. I don't know what to think. It's going to be cool though. Okay, so these 2 sextiling though, remember Saturn is our, you know, structure, doesn't like to change, that authoritarian stuff, patriarchy, that's Saturn. But the sextile is a loosening up of the energy. And then Uranus is unstable, loves change, likes to rebel, wants to be radical. So that's what I mean by really, you know, what's coming into your life? What's exciting you right now that you can maybe have to sit on and work with a little bit this fall, but will still be important next year. Okay. Then, okay, now let's talk about this new moon, because the rest of the week's pretty quiet, but we literally have this new moon at 0 degrees Virgo. Now, it's happening next Friday when I'll be posting another video, but I wanted to get you guys at least thinking about this new moon coming up, and just new moons in general, too. I'm going to do a little bit on that, too. So, so this is going to be on August 22nd at 11:07 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 0 degrees Virgo, 23 minutes. And I also want to let you know there's going to be another new moon in Virgo at 29 degrees, okay, way up here, on September 21st. So just kind of be prepared. Keep that in the back of your mind. That's kind of unusual to have 2 new moons in the same sign. Okay, so first off, Virgo. Organized, tidy, clean, healthy, practical, wants to be of service, loves the details in life. Mutable earth. So that's where that practicality, that earthiness comes from, right? But it's mutable. So of all the earth signs, it's probably the most easy to change and is willing to change, I should say. Okay, pop quiz. What's the other 2 earth signs besides Virgo? Capricorn, cardinal earth, Taurus, fixed earth. Virgo, mutable earth. Okay. I got to give you quizzes once in a while, right? Okay. So, if you've got anything between, I would say, 0 to 5 degrees Virgo, and even a few degrees into Leo, you're going to be affected most by this new moon. Now, this new moon is, and that's basically, I would say, the last week of August. So those of you, like, I can't remember when Sun goes into Virgo, say the 21st to the 30th. Okay. Now, the first thing this new moon is going to do is square Uranus. And you know, the key words for Uranus, expect the unexpected. Uranus is in Gemini, though, now. I'm not even sure it's at 1 degree yet. And literally, an hour after, or 2 hours, excuse me, after the new moon at 11 o'clock, the moon is going to square Uranus. Now, the sun's going to square it like a day later. Now, this is, so the Virgo is mutable earth, and Gemini is mutable air. So remember, mutables, you know, are kind of have difficulties, that kind of thing. Just like if you have 2 cardinals, Capricorn's cardinal, Aries is cardinal, that's a little bit of a difficult energy, that kind of thing. Okay. Let's see. And I'll talk more about the new moon next week too. I just want to kind of get you prepared, because with this square from Uranus, it could be crazy. We could have technological disruptions. I mean, like those, you know, where the whole airplane company goes down. You could have that at work. You could come in. It could be as simple, you know, you go into work one morning and a pipe broke, so you can't do any work, you know, because everything's flooded. It could even be personal things like that. But also be prepared for these bigger things too. And one other thing I want to point out about Uranus and Aquarius, you know, Aquarius fixed air, Uranus is its ruler. Both of these can be a little stubborn. I mean, we think of Aquarius and Uranus as being kind of, you know, freedom, focused, humanitarianism, progressive, future thinking, all that kind of stuff. But they can get very stubborn about their forward-thinking ideas. So just watch out for that too. And with that square here, we can, you know, it's like you can actually overreact too much with Uranus there, or maybe too quickly, or just decide this is the way I want it done, and you know, that's that basically. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to mention was that this concept of what I'm calling a traveling yod, or fickle finger of fate, or finger of destiny, or on all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off right quick. And there's that beautiful grand trine between the air. I'm going to take these guys off. And what's happening here with this new moon at 0 degrees Virgo, which makes it very easy. You know, we've got these yods out there. I'm sorry, however you're supposed to say it. I was taught the other way, so I say it, I don't know which way to say it. Anyway, the way I always pick out, so a yod is one planet is getting an inconjunct from two different planets. Okay? And what is an inconjunct? Let's see. Where's that? Oh, there it is. Okay. An inconjunct, and it's also called a quincunx, so that's what I mean. I want you to learn the vocabulary for astrology. There's the glyph, and it's an aspect of 150 degrees. And that can be pretty easy because, especially with it on 0 Virgo, because each one of these signs are 30 degrees, right? So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. So this sun is basically 150 degrees from Pluto. And I'm just going to go ahead and line those guys up. If I can get it to let go of my glove. Okay. Here, I'm going to take that off for right now. Okay. We'll put it there. Okay. Okay. And I tell you, the way I visually see a quincunx or an inconjunct is that the oppositions pop out at me pretty quickly. Okay, so can you see how that's exactly 180 degrees? And then it's the planet that's like, looks like it's a house over or a house the other direction. So whenever I see, I don't know, that opposition just sort of comes in my brain. I always look at that. And if I see something a little off of that, then I'll investigate it and say, is that an inconjunct? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. All right. So there's one side. And then we've got, so this sun is again at 0 Virgo. So, okay, we go 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. That's Saturn. So we've got, this new moon is actually making a yod. I'm sorry, people. Okay. Right smack at this new moon. And here's and the other way to tell this is when you've got two planets that are 60 degrees apart, okay, then, and if they're aspecting the same planet, then you've got a yod going on. Okay. The Fickle Finger of Fate Award. All right. So it's a little skinny triangle. And another way you can think of it, you know how all the degrees around a circle are 360 degrees, right? So if you've got 150 here and 150 there, that's 300 plus 60, 360. We got it. Okay. All right. So let's see, where did I get to here? Okay, so for this new moon, literally about a half hour, so the new moon's like at 11 o'clock at night, about a half hour later at 11:30, the moon is going to inconjunct Saturn, square Uranus, inconjunct Neptune, and inconjunct Pluto, all within a 2-hour period. So this new moon should at least get us off the couch for sure, right? And then right after that, right after the moon is finished up doing its stuff, Saturn is going to start with an inconjunct to Saturn, square to Uranus, inconjunct to Neptune, inconjunct to Pluto. But it's going to do that like over a 24-hour period. Okay, so again, really interesting stuff for sure. Okay, now here's your homework. We do have another traveling yacht out here. Oh, and I'm sorry. This traveling yacht, what I want to mention here, anybody who has anything between 0 to 5 degrees Virgo, even a little bit into Leo, you're going to feel this personally. And this is a sign of destiny. So things, if you're in this area, things that especially that are coming in at you, this may be your future. So, so really pay attention and just be aware. Now this sextile between Saturn and Neptune and Pluto, well, Saturn's going to move ahead, but this is going to move along, okay? It's going to go forward, right? So this point here is going to move that direction into Virgo. So you really need to pay attention and find out when is this thing pointing at you? Even if you're a Virgo at like 15 degrees or something, you'll want to know when that's coming up for you. Okay, there, I'm sorry. So check that out. Now, we have another traveling node, yod in our zodiac here. And so that's your homework for next week, is to find that other one. Where is that other yod going to be? And where is the traveling exit point? Because anybody who has planets in that degree area is also on their destiny, heading towards their destiny. This is such an exciting time. It's crazy how many huge transits are going on, and how fast they're coming, and how many different ways and everything. Anyway, okay. Now, before I finish up, let's see. Okay, I've got a few minutes. I really wanted to go over doing a new moon ritual. Okay, because I don't think I probably did it down in my playlist down there. But I just kind of want to run over it so that you can be ready for it for August 22nd coming up first. So like we say with new moons is always, the conjunction of the sun and the moon. They're in the exact same place. And the most important thing you want to do for a new moon is set your intentions. Now, I'm going to give you a ritual to do, and you can do that, but you can you might even just have to take a minute, shut your eyes, and repeat your intentions to yourself. Now, you've noticed that I've been giving you the exact time when this new moon is exact, or this transit or that. And yeah, you should really try to be at that time as much as possible, but you might be in a business meeting or on an airplane or something like that. So, so the timing, you may not be able to make it always exact. Like I said, you might even just shut your eyes and just go inside and repeat your intentions. But just remember, each of these phases lasts for about 3 days. So the new moon phase actually lasts about 3 days afterwards. But the phase I think is most potent is the phase before the new moon. It's called the balsamic phase. And that's where you should really be using that balsamic time, just like balsamic vinegar, the dark. So it's the dark of the new moon, right? To really analyze your intentions and that kind of thing. It's a really important time. So if you can, write them out if you can. And remember, do one step at a time. Maybe make intentions for right now, intentions for, the immediate future, and maybe intentions for a year from now. So kind of, give yourself stepping stones. Now, when you do this little ritual or ceremony, you need something for all 4 elements. So fire, of course, is easy schmeezy. Hopefully, if everybody's got some sort of candle floating around their house, right? But you want to make sure this is a candle that you can burn all the way down by the full moon. So my favorite is, I like to get Hanukkah candles, and here's me. I like to get them on sale after Hanukkah, but they're usually really high quality candles. They don't drip a lot of wax and that kind of thing. So that's my thing. The other one is water. So and you can do anything, like just use regular old tap water. I would put it in, get a special container, and that's what's kind of neat about developing these rituals is, maybe go out and buy something special just for your new moon rituals. But it can be water. A lot of times what folks like to do is they'll put water aside in a bottle or in the fridge or whatever, and they'll actually put a label on it like joy, happiness, whatever. And there's a guy in Japan, I've forgotten his name, but he's done these studies where he's looked at the molecules of water after it's been in, say, like a few days under joy, and all the molecules will be really beautiful and really cool. And then you'll see they'll do one where they'll put anger or something like that on the bottle, and the molecules will be all ugly looking and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Anyway, okay. So, so you can use water, or you can use a different liquid too. You don't have to use water. Okay, then the next thing is earth, and I just use, well, you can use any, you can just literally get soil out of a potted plant or whatever, but I like to use salt crystals, and I'll put those right there. I got them in this little, like a little incense burner, as you'll see why here in a few minutes. And you can use, you know, you can literally use salt out of your salt shaker if you want, because salt is very cleansing anyway. Okay, and then finally air. Incense is the usual go-to. Okay, and I've just got this, you know, little incense stick here, and maybe I'll set it on fire. Well, let's see. I like fire. I'm into fire. So, well, maybe I'll put it right here. Okay. Well, no. Well, don't have room for it. Okay. Such is life. Okay. So what you want to do when you get your special things all together, and the incense is great. You could use essential oils, something for smells, anything that, you know, there's vapor things, humidifiers. I've seen some really cool things. So the first thing you want to do is get yourself kind of in a meditative state, and you can do that easily with counting backwards from like 50 to, you know, to 100. I want to get this going here. Okay, I want a little incense here. All right. You can do that. I like to count affirmations. I'll literally do, you know, the highest good of all concerned, the highest good of all concerned, for the highest good of all concerned. And I'll do that 20 times, and I'll count on my fingers like that. And all you're wanting to do is smooth your brain out, right? Get it into that alpha state and out of the beta state. Shut your eyes. And then speak your intentions out loud. And you'll have to open your eyes probably to read your piece of paper. So have your intentions written down, and maybe on some sort of little piece of paper, and read it. And then I fold it up and read it out loud. I would address your, you know, your guides, your higher self. If you haven't given them a name, kind of start thinking about doing that. And then if you can, if you've got this like on a little card table, a TV table, or on a chair, walk around it in a clockwise direction. And you can do this with friends, and everybody can read their intentions as you walk around. You got your incense burning, you got your candle going. And then the last thing you do, and this is one of my favorite parts. I can't help it. I'm a pretty fiery person here. Woohoo! And oh, it's not going to light. Oh, okay. Oh, well, it lit a little. Okay, I'm going to just leave the match in there. Okay, and then what you do, take your intentions, set them on fire, and let them burn up. I've got a nice little ashtray here, so you guys won't think I'm too much of a pyro. Okay. Look. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's enough. All right. Enough of that. Oh, well, it's still burning a little bit. Okay. And all I do for that is I put rubbing alcohol in there. And you could probably use any alcohol you like. Okay. So, get ready. It's next week is going to be exciting too. Like I said, we'll talk more about the new moon. And Venus goes into Leo next week and she'll start going around to all these planets whenever they change signs. So anyway, and just remember on August 28th, keep in mind for that is when Uranus will sextile Neptune, because this is kind of one big transit as far as I'm concerned at this point. And then August 25th is when Mercury leaves its shadow. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you next time. And remember, from here to there, from there to here, funny things are everywhere. Bye.